Hey, welcome back to Average Mike. So tonight we're setting up the cuts for the plywood for my son's room. We're going to be doing a built-in shelf system with a desk in the center. The length of it's going to be about 9 foot tall, 9 foot long, 8 foot tall. We're going to have 2 shelves, the desk, and 2 runs of shelves on the left and right of it. He's got a bit of a smaller room, so what we're trying to do is trying to give him some space, give him an actual proper desk with the hybrid education going on right now. He right now just has a temporary desk. So when I get something a little bit more permanent, plus give him a little bit more room in his actual bedroom so he can have some private space in the house. So I hope you guys enjoyed the build. Thanks a lot for watching. Please like and subscribe when you get a chance. Check out the other videos, and I'll see you on the other side of this. All right, so I'm just checking out my plans. I drafted up my plans here of the shelf system, and also the desk itself, what I'm going to draw. So always plan first. Always plan what you're going to do before you start cutting. Especially with plywood nowadays, it's like $50 a sheet. This is the sanded plywood, 3/4 inch. So what we're going to do is we're going to have 4 15-inch shelves, width of the shelves, interior width. And they're going to be 12 inches tall, and it's going to go 8 feet. So we're going to have the stackable. So we're going to have 4 of those, and then we're going to have a 4-foot desk in between by 25 inches, which is your standard desk width and depth. And the reason I went with 4 feet, the desks run from 30 inches, which is a small desk, up to 6 feet, which is like a receptionist desk. Just checking out the standards online. I went with 4 feet because it just made sense for his room. So 10-foot wall. If you can get 30 inches of shelves on both sides, in the 4 foot in the middle, it'll feel right in his room with the 12-inch depth for the shelving, and then 25, so it'll look nice, and you got a little shelf across the top. You'll check that out as I start building it. So that's what I'm going to start doing now. I'm going to start cutting this wood to match the dimensions that I asked. So I did a material list, bought several sheets. Just kind of first stab. I already know this trip's going to take. It's going to be several trips to the store for hardware and other things later on down the line. But we're just kind of in draft mode. I already know what design we're going with. I just got to figure out the right dimensions, and then we'll start getting the hardware stuff for the shelf hangers and things like that later on down the line. Once I know exactly how many shelves I want to put, because we're going to space out some different things to fit his trophies and things like that. So. Right now, I'm just going to start the cuts. So I need 6 shelves at 12 inches wide by 94.5 inches long. Kind of got stuck on that last hook at the very end because of the flap, so I might have to switch sides when I'm doing halfway, so I don't have the overhang. I don't have a partner holding my other side or a table. difficult because it's only 24 inches left over. So we're gonna have to split this down the middle. And somehow not cut the horses, right? So we'll look at that, right? So what I'm gonna do is I have pieces that I can lift. So I have pieces of wood I can lift on top of I can put on top of the horses to lift the horses up off the horses. Lift the wood off the horses. That's what it is. Lift the hood off the wood off the horses. Hey, day 0.5, I guess, right? So welcome back to Average Mike. Just last night I was cutting the sides for the built-in shelves, and now I'm going to cut the remainder. There's 2 more to be cut, and then I'll cut the bases, and then the tops and the inserts. That's what I'm going to do today, and then we're going to mock it up in the room. We're going to bring it back down, build it in the garage, paint it in the garage. I think we're just going to do white basic paint for now, and if we have to paint it in place to a color that he likes, whatever, we'll do it in place, because that's why you normally have to do the outside and the trims. And then of course the inside. We're not putting a backer to it because we have the wall painted already, and it looks nice with the white versus the blue that he has in his room. You'll see the pictures of that. So what I'm doing is I'm going to be planning for these bookshelves to sit on a 2x4 platform, 2x4 platform. So I'm going to build these boxes out of 2x4s. You'll see me put them on, and we'll put it on that way. You can get a nice little kick plate, a little toe kick in there, 3 inches back from the front edge of the bookshelves, and you can put a nice little you can put base molding in and look really nice on the finish. Plus, it gets it off the floor. You know, typically the problem with bookshelves with built-ins, people put them right on the floor, and then you got other problems, right? You can't really get the baskets in and out. The floor moves, things like that. Not to mention later on down the line, if you mount it to the floor, if we move or whatever, someone can't actually take these things out. They'd be much more difficult to take it out. So we're gonna make it easier to take it out later on in case he, when he's older, whatever. So a little bit of flexibility there. So check it out. Hang with me. Continue to build. Everything's 12 inches depth, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut a 12-inch run and then cut it 32 down that, then cut the 2 32s out, just in case I need one of those other pieces. That way I can kind of preserve a 12-inch piece that I can cut the shelves into, rather than cutting the whole thing at 64 and a half. Because if you cut it 64 and a half, you're only leaving so much meat left over as the full 24 inches. You can cut that in half and get the same thing, the same amount of wood. Just feels like you can get more out of it when you just split it down the middle. So I'm gonna do one more 12-inch split. So you see these edges, because see these little edges that happen? So I'm gonna take a knife and cut that off with a razor blade knife, and then I'm gonna take my sander and make sure these edges are smooth. That way, the nice corner edge be nice. Plus, I don't have a rip saw. I don't have a table saw, so I would be ripping these with a table saw without a problem. I don't have one, so I use my circular saw pretty much for everything because I'm pretty skillful with it. And then I just learned these edges. You fight with them, don't fight with them on the saw. Just sand them down later. So. Now, like I said, we have 31 and a half left over, so it's going to be useful for two inserts actually one insert for 2 inserts for 15 inches a piece. So there's going to be like an inch left over or whatever, but that's just going to be considered scrap, or we can use it for shims later on. So I'm going to continue to cut those. I need 4 15s, 4 15-inch lengths by 12 inch. So I'm gonna cut those down to 2. I'm gonna grab that extra one that I had. I'm gonna cut 2 more out of that, and that's actually gonna be the tops. So the bottom's gonna go the whole distance of the 32 inches, and the tops are just gonna be inserted so that we have, so I could put a, why am I doing that? See, this is the whole thinking problem. So when you look at the finish, when you walk in and you look at the finish of the room, it looks smooth on the outside. If you did it the other way, it won't look smooth on the outside. So I'm doing it that way. That's pretty much the shelves there. And the inserts come. And then we're gonna do, so that's the outside of the shelves. Now I'm gonna take actually I'm gonna finish cutting this piece down. I'm gonna cut 2 more 32 1/4 so I can stack these guys and make them 1.5 inches on the bottom, just to give that more stability. And then what we're gonna do, since it's really an extra piece, I'm gonna take the next one. I'm gonna cut the actual desk out. I'm gonna do 2 of those as well, so that the desk is 1.5 inches thick. We're gonna glue that together and tack it at the bottom so that it's, so it's nice and sturdy of a desk. I'm gonna let it glue and let it sit. That way it doesn't warp or anything like that. You got 2 pieces of wood. We're gonna go against the grain on the cut. So we're gonna have one going this way and one grain going this way, so that it's fighting itself to stay in shape. I know you all, maybe you haven't, but I hate pre-drilling. But with wood products, with wood shelves and things, you got to do the pre-drill. So, or else things will just fall apart. The other thing you need to do is wood glue, right? Always use the glue at the joints. Especially if you're doing like the finger joints and things like that. I'm not doing finger joints for this product. I'm actually just doing the overlap joints. So I don't know what the actual technical term is for that, but doing overlap joints, I'm gonna mark where the 3/4 plywood lands on every single one of every single one of them. We'll just paint over top of that. That's not a problem with pencil mark, and that way we're just gonna pre-drill half the size of the screw. That way it doesn't split, because if it splits on the end, you're kind of stuck, and that piece of wood's that's not gonna hold. Eventually it's gonna break apart. So I'm gonna pre-drill these guys. I got my pre-drill all set up over there. So I'm gonna take every piece and just kind of zip through the whole pre-drill, maybe two at every junction, in every direction. So we're gonna easy, like boop, boop, to done. I got a nice inch, what do I have, 1.5 inches. I don't even know where they're at. 1.5 inches, 1 5/8 screws. So, and 8 penny screws. So they're not as, they're pretty thick, but they're not super thick where it's gonna rip. So we're gonna do some pre-drills. We're gonna do some gluing on those spots. And we're gonna start putting it together. So we'll flip from cutting to installing, or cutting to building. There we go. All right, so here's what I was talking about. Just taking the edge of these guys with my my hand sander, my pneumatic sander. Just kind of sanding down the corners, just a little bit. You don't go too crazy. You want to get the spurs off. That's it. That's done. I'm gonna put these guys on the workbench, because these are the bottom pieces, right? As I said, these go on the bottom. These are the 32 1/4 inch pieces. I was gonna do one, which is a 3/4 inch. So instead, I'm gonna actually do 2 and have them stacked. I'm gonna glue them. I'm gonna clamp them together. I'm gonna let them sit for several hours. I'm gonna tack a couple screws on the bottom side with small screws, so they don't puncture through. And this way, this not only does the frame get it off the ground, but this gives us enough heft to hold. Because I'm gonna put glue them. I'm gonna put tacky glue in the inside here. I'm gonna then take the bottom, put a couple screws in, a little 1 inch screws. This is like a 3/4 inch, makes it 1.5 inches. So 1 inch screws to keep them together, just 3 or 4. Probably just boom, boom right in the middle here, just to keep it going from like warping itself. Because what's gonna happen is it's gonna make it a little stronger for the sides. All the weight in that center of all the weight coming down on the shelves, so it doesn't bend. So I am putting a 2x4 structure in, which will be 3 inches back from the front. So we have that toe kick. So it'll be lifted off the ground by that 2x4. And then we're gonna put trim around that nice and neat. We're gonna actually mount the 2x4s to the wall, right? And mount these to the 2x4s. And that way it's nice and sturdy when you have it, and then it's mounted from the top mounted, and you take this off, then you have the frame, right? And you can take it off in like 4 parts. So again, I'm gonna glue it and then come back later when it's semi-dry and the screws are in. I'm gonna then sand it down so that the edges match up and line up, right? So all the edges have a nice line up to it, and then everything's smooth and nice. All right, so cool. Keep watching. All right, so remember these are all sanded smooth down, all nice already, so we're good there. I got 4 pieces here. I'm gonna take the wood glue, make sure it's open, right? And I'm just gonna easily go. Come on. Somehow, open up, baby. Door's open. There we go. I'm just gonna basically make an S. Pretty heavy one across the way, because I don't want this to come across. I don't want this to come apart, right? This is gonna be the base. Do nice right there. Let it sit. Let it dry. That's gonna take a couple hours. I'm gonna then let it dry for a couple hours. Come back. We're not ready for them yet anyway. We're still cutting pieces. I'm gonna still build that frame. We're still cutting. I'm not ready for those to dry yet, or I'm ready for them to dry, but I'm not ready for them quite yet. We have to still cut a couple pieces, sand the rest of that down, pre-drill all the holes, mark and pre-drill all the panels. And build the base frame for the room, and then we're gonna take a pause. I had to get his old furniture out of the room so I could build it in place, paint it out here, build it in place. So that's what I'm hoping for. So you'll see that process continue. All right, thanks a lot. So edges are sanded. Move back here. The edges are sanded. Move up here. The edges are sanded for all the side pieces. Still waiting for that to dry, right? Obviously. Well, not obviously, because you have no idea how many pieces I cut. So, still waiting for the bottom shelves to dry. I'm gonna continue to cut the desks. I need those, and then I'm gonna go frame out. And you'll come with me. I'm gonna go frame out the bottom pieces, the bottom frame. Okay. 4 foot wide. That's gonna be the desk width. 25 inches. Deep is how deep it's going to be. It's normal counter depth. So if you had a built-in, it'd be 25 inches or something like that. So obviously you can customize the desk, as I said before, 30 to 6 feet, 33 feet to 6 feet long. Actually 30 inches to 6 feet long, which is 72 inches. So this is going to be 48-inch desk. It's going to be pretty big desk for a 11-year-old, but he's going to grow into it, and that'll be fine. He's got a lot of books. Just to wrap it up. So I did the built-ins in my son's room, Michael's room. All right, so thanks for watching Average Mike. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.